My name's Carol Costa. I'm the first owner at Classical Condos, having closed on my condo April 21st, 1989. I was a teacher here when the school closed. And I remember this gentleman named Kirk Noyes wandering around the building at that time. And, he picked up the building for a song at that point. So it was a tough sell because basically you were selling a condo without anything to see. There are 111 units. I do know that over 55 were sold, but then the market started falling off. When I bought in April, I was the first in 1989, we were down to only 21 people who had stuck with their deposit and were willing to close.
Just as it was finished, the market collapsed. For example, the person that bought this unit, who I believe was a doctor, and he paid over $200,000. He just gave it back to the bank, lost his deposit, and that's why it ended up being very inexpensive.
But we fell on hard times, and we actually went through 2 large building auctions.
Well, at the time, prices were very low. As a matter of fact, the whole place was up for sale. And since I needed a place that wasn't very expensive, that was my choice.
I worked at City Hall, and I was under Ted DeMoro, and we had to build a new high school, which is now Central High School. So we had to coordinate that. It was by a vote, and we had to coordinate, a vote to have it pass. And I was given the assignment of coming up here with a photographer, and I think it was here because it was on the 4th floor, and the ceiling was peeling away, just falling down on the kids' heads.
I was one of the last graduating classes in 1983. Love the history of this school. Of course, I live in the addition. I don't live in the original part, so I kind of miss there's more detail where it's that's the original, 96 or 98. I think I'm 1922. But I love being here. I love the fact that I was an alumni of Classical. And I love my view. I love looking out at St. Michael's Church and the library and the Federal Building. I love that. And the atrium blows my mind. They did an amazing job because it certainly didn't look like that when I attended school here, because remember that with the auditorium and below it with the cafeteria.
Classical, oh my God, I fell in love with this building well over 20 years ago. We had a friend that lived in the building, and we stayed here for years and years.
I sort of became the classical figurehead because I was the president so often over the first many years, and over time. It grows on you because it's really a very special place. I was inspired to live here right away because the whole notion of preserving something that had been such a great contribution to Springfield educationally. Typically, you're converting an apartment building to condos. Not so interesting. A school being converted makes it much more interesting because not all classrooms are the same. It's like if you go through some of those center hallways, those are original single pane windows. I was such a fan of Kirk Noyes. He had done other school conversions. He'd done some in eastern Massachusetts, some in northern New England. So he came to this with some experience, but frankly, he lost his shirt here. Lost everything. He lost everything. Doesn't feel like a school anymore. And of course, the biggest change actually was the transformation of the hallways, because the hallways are basically half the width that they used to be, because the architectural plans, to give more space to the units, they built into the hallways, and it alternates. As you go down the hall, you'll see some are built in on one side, and then you go a little farther down, and then they're built in on the other side. So, it's not a school anymore. You don't have to worry about the movement of thousands of people through the halls. So, they gave up some of that space. So the moment that happened, you kind of lost sight of where you were. In the first few years I was here, I could still recollect what some of the now condos had looked like, particularly the ones that are in the science section of the school.
I know that I'm in the oldest part of the building, the original.
So Danny, there's a unit for sale on the 5th floor classical. I said, there's no 5th floor classical. He said, you've lived there for all these years, you know the 5th floor is the other side of the building. So I didn't even know this floor existed, So I purchased it. And first of all, the history of the building, the history and the architecture of the building, and the location.
Right. Every time I take the stairs, and they're well worn from kids marching up and down them for all those many years.
Well, I definitely like all the architecture, and I like the fact that we can restore this side to maybe look like the other side that's a little bit older. The arches, everything about it, I just fell in love with this building too.
And the fact that this building was stated to be knocked down and somebody saved it, it just makes me love it all the more. When we decided to raise the living room, this wall, we had to open up to move all of the outlets, and we found 4 chains hanging behind this wall. And our contractor sent me a picture of it. He goes, Mario, I don't know what this is. And I'm like, is that a chain? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, don't pull it. I went straight to Carol, because Carol was a teacher here. And she's like, oh my God, that's the dumbwaiter that we used to lift the books with. So there's so much history behind these walls. Even our kitchen is part of the hallway. Our kitchen is the hallway with the windows, and they cut it off. And when you walk down the hallway, that's really my kitchen. It's crazy. But every time you turn in here and you do something, you find history, you find what this building was, and it's just amazing. And the fact that when they turned it into condominiums, they kept so much architectural detail. I'm sure it was just amazing to go through.
I like looking out the windows and just seeing all the architecture.
Yeah, but even when you go into some of the units, I've toured some of the units where one was the library and it has all the built-ins in it. It's just amazing.
When we first looked at this place, the gym was still here. So the gym roof came up to about here. So that railing was where the stands were for the gymnasium, where they played. And that wasn't there, that deck wasn't there. And that was basically the gym floor. So that none of these decks were here. We took off the drywall and started chipping away. And this is what was there. It was like thick plastic with the wire behind it and everything. And so it made it a little wider. And it looks good. This, and then when we go over here, was a classroom. So you came in out of the hallway, and this was the entrance to the classroom. So even if you look back here, there's still, you can't see it now, but there was blackboards there and everything.
When we were getting some work done here, I noticed when they took all the switch plates out, there's a school chalkboard back here, the whole wall. It's in there. It's behind it, away from it. There's a wall built in front of it.
This was part of the school. This was built in. That was the one that was built in there that divided the 2 units. We took it out over there, brought it here, and we were like, but it was sticking out here. So once again, knocked on the wall, put it back in.
We moved in 1989 in June. We were among the first 4 or 5 people to buy here. I worked downtown, and I was working in the mayor's office at the time when classical and tech, when they closed. And the mayor explained to me that this was going to be a great building.
When the building opened, I bought unit 214. It was a smaller 1-bedroom unit because I taught up at Commerce up the street. And this was, from what I understand, it was a large lecture hall. And they divided it into 4 units. They put that wall there to separate my unit from theirs next door. So next door, their unit is a mirror image of mine. And then the same thing happened downstairs. So, except their windows are different. Downstairs, I got the top of the plating window, and they got the bottom of it. When I purchased the unit, it was advertised as a 2.5 bath. So they called this right here a half bath. It was basically just a vanity. So I just needed more storage space. So we pulled all that plumbing out and put a storage unit in there, and that's the closet.
When we were looking for a place in the area, because our daughter lives in Long Meadow and one of our sons is in New York, and we wanted to be able to visit with them on occasion. So we're here for the holidays now. The unit had just been renovated by the previous owner, and we liked the look of it, we liked the openness of it. It had sufficient rooms and facilities. We do have several friends in the area that actually attended this high school when they were kids. And we've taken them up here, and they've pointed out different rooms where they had their laboratories or their different classes.
And it's just nice. Everyone's very friendly, and everyone has interesting stories.
Last month, when I was home, my cousins came over, and my cousin Gerald wanted to go. He's like, "Oh my God, I went to high school there. I want to come and see you." So he walked through the building with me and said, "This was my classroom, and this was this." And I'm like, I love that.
I love the people. Great people. I love the location now. With more things happening downtown Springfield, I could walk to everything.
I feel very comfortable, secure being here. And there are some very nice people that live here, and we end up socializing.
It's convenient to the highways and to work and shopping, and the people are nice.
When I returned to Springfield, and I was living on Mattoon Street for 10 years, and then when I had an opportunity to consider buying something, this was my first choice. I just love classical. I just love the building. I love the location. I love the integrity of the building. I really do. And we have some incredible neighbors that live here, residents. I love that. I love the feel of the community.
I think it met the vision of the developer, for sure. Exactly what he wanted to see happen. It's a good place for empty nesters. It's a good place for young couples.
I thought it was a pretty cool place, and I still do.
I don't know. I keep saying it over and over again. I just love this building. When I walk through it, when we come from Florida and I take an Uber and I get out of the Uber and I'm like, oh my God, this is home. It feels right.